Let's get him.
Let me tell you about the Moose family. U-E-A-S-H-L, but folks better listen up closely to me. You might call me Coney, and you might call me Shady, and you might call me Maggie, but I call it serious business.
All right, Moose fam, here on the Morning Skate today with me is special guest Akis10, and we're going to be running through all things preseasons today. Thanks for being here, Akis.
Thanks, Zero. It's a pleasure to be a guest on the show today. Been a big fan of the Morning Skate and all Moose Media events past seasons. I hope we get a regular dose of it this season, and I'd like to help out as much as I can.
Awesome stuff, man. I know I'm happy to have you here, and hopefully we're going to have you back on the show for multiple episodes. For our new listeners, the Morning Skate is all things Moose hockey. We try to keep the episodes to 15 minutes or less for your viewing pleasure, and we cover things like who's hot, who's not. We're going to be following the inevitable Moose drama. We're going to fill you in on a little preseason drama here that's already taken place, and we're going to be keeping you up to date with events and other things happening in this community. And with that, I want to roll into our first segment today, and that's the Season 39 draft. Akis, you're going to tell me all about which captain you think had the best draft.
Well, Zero, always hard to tell with so many unknown new players and new combinations of lines, but based off pure talent from the rosters, I would have to say the Blades with captains Hoots and Salutes and Cash Kush. They had a pretty solid draft, getting Felty Pack and Green Thumb Hippie. Pretty cheap, will be a good tandem on the blue line. It'll be tough to tell, though, with Kush, Salutes, and Sphinxtastrophe. That'll be a pretty solid offensive line of forwards. A bunch of good two-way players who know how to bury the puck. They got a lot of chemistry together. Biggest question is, I'm anticipating Riesland being their goalie for the season, but is he going to stay for the whole season? That's the biggest question on that one.
Wow, really interesting take there, Akis. I actually had the Blades a little bit more towards the bottom of the list, but hey, that goes to show you may know a couple players that I might not know, and vice versa. My opinion, I think the Whalers did a great job in their draft. They brought back Heroic Duck. They also brought back Sty. I think that's some pretty good talent. Some of these players have played together as well, which I think also added into that opinion. And it's hard to go against one of the top D-men's in the league. I mean, anytime you go down his side of the ice, it's pretty much shut down. So I'm going to stick with the Whalers moving into Season 39, but like you said, it's so early, we don't even know what combinations people are going to throw out there. That being said, everyone had a great draft. We're going to move into the team that maybe, I don't know, they were a dud moving into the draft. So, Akis, what's your take? Who do you think maybe dropped the ball here in Season 39 draft, and why exactly do you think that is?
The captain that dropped the ball in this draft, I would say it's hard to tell, but in my opinion, it's between the Flyers and Whalers. And I only say this because these two teams spent big. Will they have enough depth to carry them back to the Cup? I mean, I understand paying for chemistry, but going over 20 bods for a part-time player is hard to swallow, in my opinion. But Coherent has been to 2 straight Cups. So you got to trust what he's doing over there in Philly this season. And the Whalers going big for Duck, that's crazy. I don't care how good he is. I mean, he's going to take them far, and he's going to carry them. But the biggest issue for the Whalers is, are they going to have the depth? Is Sty, Duck, are they going to be able to carry that team back to the playoffs?
Wow, so far we've had some differing opinions here, Akis. You got the Whalers as your tank section. I have them sitting towards the top. And I also have the Blades. They're towards the bottom of my list, and actually the team that I think really dropped the ball in Season 39 draft. Hopefully, towards midpoint of the season, we'll see who's a little bit closer to being correct. This is way too early to tell. Like you said, the lines aren't even set. We don't know what the matchups are. I just don't think that the Blades have enough offense. I think that's going to lead to some pinching, and it's going to lead to some trouble in the defensive end and keeping the puck out of the net. With that being said, we're going to hop right into who's taking home this season's Overpaid Player Award. And I'm going to like to start this one off. And, hey, it's no offense to the player mentioned here. This is just opinion and for fun. But, to be honest, I think taking a defenseman for some of the prices that I'm seeing out there was just a little too high. And the player I'm referring to is truly for Canadian. I think he's a great player, a great D-man. I just don't think that 44 bods should solely go to any player, and specifically someone of defensive caliber. He's not a defenseman that I think you're going to count on to step up into the play, maybe like a Luckton would. He's going to drive the net and score at will. I think Truly's more of a stay-at-home defenseman. He's going to shut down the blue line. I just think that might have been a little bit of a stretch for him. Akis, what is your opinion on who you have as overpaid moving into the season 39?
My overpaid player would have to be Race Boy this season. Sorry, Race Boy, nothing against you or the skill that you bring to the table, but 39 bods is pretty steep. I mean, this guy's got lots of good chemistry with Hoodler and Beerus, like Notorious said during the draft. He's always playing with them. But, I mean, he's 5 bods less than Truly for Canada. And I would consider Truly for Canada a franchise demon. Upshaw comes in at a close second. But Upshaw is the Swiss Army knife of Moose. I mean, you got to pay for guys that have that kind of skill. Can plug and play anywhere. But 30 for Upshaw is kind of steep, too. But overpaid player so far has to go to Race Boy.
You made some good points there, Akis. I actually have to say I'd agree with everything that you said. I don't know what your take is on my opinion, but I'd have to say, yeah, a little bit too much spending for Upshaw, a little bit too much spending for Race Boy. But let's give it to Race Boy. Hey, you'll see you earn that paycheck, show the Moose what you're worth, and I think that's what makes it fun is all the competition out here. Moving into this season, I don't think I've ever seen a season, summer season specifically, this big, so that just means that we're growing and good things are happening. So we're going to quickly flip the coin here and give the Moose community who we think was the steal of the draft. In my opinion, I'm going to have to think about it. I'm going to let you go first and give me a second to think about it.
My take on the biggest steal of the draft was tough. I couldn't choose a single player, so I picked 3 that I thought were steals. Getting Sphinctastrophe for 11 bods. The kid had 38 goals and 43 assists in 31 games last season on the Red Deer Rebels. He was playing on a mix of lines, never had a set line. Hallmain as well. I mean, Hallmain did go for 36, but a player of his caliber, I felt like should have been upwards into the 40s. I mean, yeah, he's coming off a season removed from injury, but the season he did play back in a year before that injury, he put up, like 162 points and I think 38 games that year. And Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan plays goalie full-time. Anytime you can get a top 5 goalie for less than 30, I feel like you won that in my opinion.
I'm going to have to follow right behind you with that, Akis, and list a couple players because I'm the same way. Looking at the list, there's just too many, I think, that went for a great deal, and that just goes to show you that the league's talent is growing. Paychecks are going down a little bit. My number 1, that goes to Surprise Me 22, going for just 15 bods. If you look at some of the other 15 bod players out there, this is a guy that's going to compete in the top 10 in points every single season. He may not make it to all 8 games, but he makes up for it in the points category. And I also had, who did I have on here? I had D from Boston, also has a great deal. Guy that is pretty knowledgeable, knows what to do with the puck, and can definitely light the lamp. And my last one was Slamorama. Ended up staying with the Railers at 22 bods. I think he is an amazing player, someone that's great for the league, and he's going to end up carrying the Railers into the playoffs this season alongside with Jelly. We're getting a little close on time, so I'm going to quickly move into a couple of the rule changes that have taken place with Moose moving into season 39. I'm actually a real big fan of these changes. Blue Liner does a great job with this league and always keeping us up to date and really competitive with some of the other leagues. One of the big changes was we changed part-time players. They used to be able to play 4 games a week. We moved them back down to 3 games a week. I think that makes a little bit more sense. He also made a couple changes in regards to playoff series. If it comes to a Game 7, every player on your roster has had to have played a game. I think that also evens the field a little bit from just stacking the line, trying to win the series outright. And then lastly, just a small change, but I think it makes a whole lot of sense. Is, if you have a player that lags out mid-game, when we reload back in, the team that lagged out is going to take a penalty. I think that's something that just makes sense. You shouldn't not be penalized for drafting people that can't stay connected or trying to gain an advantage maybe by quitting out and getting that EA swing towards their side. I like having to take that penalty if you do have someone that lags out. Akis, what do you think about some of these changes with the league?
Rules. Yep, there were some significant amount of rule changes this year, but I feel like it's going to be beneficial for the league. I like what they're doing with the TC players. It's going to ease the burden on the MECs to try to get a waiver for a team so they don't have to take a forfeit loss. As being a captain last season, I got to see that chat, and man, I cannot hand it to the MECs enough for keeping every game starting 6v6, because there were some pretty last-second waiver calls, and they were able to reach out to these people and get them in there so they could get the games underway. I agree with the lag out where you take a penalty. Unfortunately, yeah, you can blame it on my team not being able to do it, but we had a game last year where the Whalers lost a guy and they kept the copy, and I really feel like that copy being on the ice made a big difference compared to the defenseman who dropped from that game. But yeah, I hand it to the MECs, Blue Liner, MHL, Notorious. I believe I'm just a scrub, still one, but any of the MECs who put in the hard work this offseason to make the league better, as they always do, you got to tip your hat to them. Great job, guys.
Hey, man, you hit it right on the head there. Shout out to the MEC for doing all their things to make this league an amazing experience and enjoyable to play in. And again, also shout out to Blue Liner for all his hard work behind the scenes, making this league fun to play in. We're going to end this week with just a little Moose drama. We're only a weekend. You can't expect too much. But I guess the drama of the week so far is we've already lost a captain. The MHL Walleye had a misunderstanding, and we had to say goodbye to Sir Puffington. So we are looking for a new co-captain in that arena. We'll keep you updated with all things Moose hockey, and I can't wait to see you all for week 2 when we get this season underway. Have a great night, everyone.
Let me tell you about the Moose family, yo. U-E-A-S-H-L, motherfuckers, better listen up closely. Listen right up, right now. It's a bit faggy.